Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is a Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, September 12th, I believe, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com over the past week. First up, John Mueller out with the news again from Google, basically saying Penguin 3.0 will most likely launch before 2014. He specifically said in a question asked to him by Edward on a Google Plus Hangout this morning at around 5 a.m., 5:45 a.m. He said, the question was, will the Penguin 3.0 launch in 2014? John answered, my guess is yes, but as always, there's always things that could happen in between. I am pretty confident, and for him to say I am pretty confident, he must be confident. We will have something in the reasonable future, but not today, so we'll definitely let you know when it's happening. So you can watch this. It's going to hopefully be launching, hopefully in a very reasonable time, which if I had to guess, definitely before the year anniversary of Penguin 2.0, which would have been, which will be in about 22 days from now, on October 4th, 2014. Talking about algorithms, John Mueller also talked about, I did a story basically, Google's, this is something, nothing new for you guys. So basically, for you to recover from a Penguin refresh, of Penguin algorithm, Google has to refresh the algorithm. Otherwise, if it doesn't do any updates to it, you're not going to go ahead and recover. That's obvious to most of you guys. But John wanted to actually confirm other things and explain why people might see fluctuations when they're working on fixing up Penguin. So if you're fixing up your Penguin stuff, you're fixing your links, you're cleaning up your content, obviously Penguin's more about links, but you're doing other things to improve your website. Clearly, Google's going to take into account in their other hundreds of algorithms and factors and signals that you've made changes to your site. And based off of that, you might see some increase, a small increase maybe, because the other metrics, the other signals that Google's looking at will have a positive sign. So Penguin is one, and if you're hit by Penguin, it's probably massive, but you might see a little increase as you're doing improvements. And John made basically 4 points. Even when Google runs algorithm updates or refreshes, the changes aren't immediately visible even after a refresh, and that's normal. 2, a single site is never void alone with just a single algorithm. Many algorithms impact a single site. 3, in some cases where a site is strongly affected by a single algorithm, but John added, that doesn't mean that I won't see changes until the algorithm data is refreshed, like I explained before. And theoretically, void of just your site and a single algorithm, you need to wait for an algorithm and or its data refresh to see any changes based on the new situation. You should definitely read the whole entire post. I posted this on September 9th at seroundtable.com, and it's definitely a must-read for all SEOs. And I said Google already confirmed that for you to recover from a Penguin refresh algorithm, you need a Penguin refresh. Nothing new. Google did say yesterday or the day before that they are working, like I said, they are working on a Penguin refresh, that's for sure, Penguin 3.0, and that specific one will obviously refresh everything, but they're working on making it run faster. Specifically, John said they're working on a solution that generally refreshes faster, so you don't have to wait longer between periods of Penguin refreshes. We're trying to speed things up around Penguin, and he says our algorithms don't, he also admitted, which is interesting, our algorithms don't reflect that, meaning webmasters' efforts to clean up the issues around their sites being impacted by Penguin, in a reasonable time. So he's admitting that Google's not being reasonable about how often they refresh their algorithms, and they know they're working on it and trying to make it faster with this new update. I'm on iOS 8, so it's a little bit new for me, but it's pretty much the same. We also thought that Panda was refreshed on around September 5th, I believe, September 6th. A lot of people are actually noticing Panda refreshes. Glenn Gabe also said a bunch of clients were actually impacted and saw improvements. I don't believe Google did not confirm it for us, but there were some rumors around the Panda refresh on the 5th. Google this week was actually indexing their own search results. So you see over here, Chris Dyson actually shared the information where you actually see Google search results directly in the actual search results, which is again against Google's own guidelines. They even cached the pages. This is Google's search results cached in the Google search results, which is interesting. But Google said it was a bug. They fixed it, and they updated the robot.txt file and basically stopped preventing it from indexing. So this is what it looks before, and now this is what it looks like after. So it's pretty good. It's pretty clean, and so forth. again, myths out there. I don't know where people get these things from. I can see, I guess, where they get them from. But basically, Google said, somebody thought that having a responsive design is actually better, a ranking signal, or actually a specific ranking signal in Google's documentations versus going with Google has 3 ways they want you to go mobile. Either responsive, which is they recommend for a lot of reasons. 2 is same URL but different CSS. Or 3 is have separate URLs using rel canonical and different headers and stuff like that. But Google said there is no ranking signal for going responsive versus going one of the other best practices that Google offers. So again, responsive itself is not a direct ranking signal versus the other methods. Obviously, if you do them, you do get a boost somewhat in the you don't get a deficit for not doing it on mobile results. But again, it's something you should look into, and don't assume responsive is the way to go. It's interesting. So Google originally, when they went ahead and updated their site move documentation back in June, they actually said use 302 redirects. That's no longer the case. Google actually updated documentation to say use 301 redirects, which is a good thing. I'm not sure why they actually had 302s originally. Talking about 302s, Matt Cutts himself updated his blog to using HTTPS. The interesting thing is Matt Cutts, when he did the move, he did a 302 redirect from the HTTP to the HTTPS as opposed to the 301 redirect. I assume in Matt Cutts' case, it's not done by accident. He's probably testing to see how Google handles that. Matt Cutts does use his blog to test to see if Google's actually doing the right thing in terms of their own search results. And I know he's on vacation, but why not? All right, Google's schema markup does not guarantee site links in search box. So last week we reported that Google released a new site links search box schema, and what that meant was that they actually upgraded the site box in this actual search results. But the main thing is the schema stuff lets you actually say, Google, link to my own website. Instead of linking to the search result, Google search results, link to my internal search results for the actual output of the site search. And people were saying, oh, you won't get this box in the Google search results if you don't have the schema. That's completely not true. Google will give you the box even if you don't have the schema if they deem it necessary. Adding the schema will not help you get the box, according to Google. So that's a myth, and don't think that. Something you probably all know, Google processes the disavow file continuously. So if you move to a new site or if you update it, Google's constantly fetching it and trying to see if there's any updates to it. Obviously, you could actually submit it again via Webmaster Tools and Google will process it and give you the updates. But as John Mueller said, basically they're processing it continuously. For the advertisers out there, this is an interesting thing. So Google announced this week that starting October 15th, they may remove the second line or change the second line of your ad. So typically you have title, URL, 2 ad lines, descriptions, and then maybe some site links. Google's saying, all right, in the new ad format, we may decide to either remove the second line completely or replace it with site links and move some other information there. And then Google said this is for your benefit, it will increase your conversions and yada yada. So keep that in mind, October 15th, that's going to be happening. Google released the new AdWords editor, version 10.6. Specifically, this one is really around managing mobile ad campaigns and some other things, so they gave you a lot of features around that. So if you're doing any of that, you should want to check it out. This is cool, a new knowledge graph for B-list celebrities. I covered this at Search Engine, also at Search Engine Roundtable. Samuel Edwards first found this. If you do a search for Jill Duggar, which is part of the, I think, 1920 something kids and counting, like they have 1,000 kids, and whatever she got engaged or something, I'm not sure. Maybe she's having a baby. She has a baby, and she's a B-list celebrity. So Google has this in the news box over here, which basically will have information about a B-list celebrity about that, as opposed to a full knowledge graph panel, which is interesting. Google Webmaster Tools has updated their API. I think they removed a lot of functionality, but they actually went ahead and revamped the whole entire infrastructure behind the API to match the other APIs in Google. So that should lead to faster and more convenient updates by Google's Webmaster Tools API. Google released a new analytics feature called benchmark reports. As long as you're sharing your anonymous data with Google and others in the settings area, you will get these benchmarking reports showing you how you compare to your competitors in your industry. This is a nice information. So you got how much traffic you're getting compared to your industry. It's very nice to see, and I'm very excited to see it. I haven't looked at it myself, and it should be rolling out to everybody soon who share their data. Finally, this is kind of like a joke, but in the Google Webmaster Tools API blog post that John Mueller posted on the Google Webmaster Central blog, in the line where it says by posted by John Mueller, if you look at the actual code, you'll see rel equals agent, as opposed to rel equals author, which Google removed a few weeks ago completely. And I think it's just a joke. John Mueller said, when somebody spotted it, John Mueller said, oops, that looks like a typo. They didn't replace it. It's just, I think, John Mueller messing around. They always hide these little things behind the scenes to see if webmasters will pick it up and so forth. Anyway, that pretty much recaps the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz. This is the news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable over the past week. Again, today is Friday, September 12th. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. Bye.